Hello and welcome to the July 2013 online teacher feature. This month we are at the Kula garden with one of our favorite teachers in the Yogaverse, Holly Briscoe. Good morning.
Good morning.
Peace. What up, Holly?
Nada. Beautiful morning.
We're sitting here right before Holly's 10 a.m. class, so if you don't know Holly or haven't been to her classes, she teaches a vinyasa practice 10 a.m. on Saturday mornings,
Yep.
and yin-yang fusion at 9 a.m. on Wednesday mornings.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for being here and being open to doing this.
It's my pleasure.
Cool.
I love being here.
Awesome. Well, we usually try to give people a sense of just like what this whole yoga thing is about for you.
Mm-hmm.
So could you tell people just maybe a sense of your story and how you came to yoga so they could get to know you better than your bio, maybe?
Absolutely.
Cool.
When I first noticed yoga, if you want to call it that, which was, gosh, I've kind of lost count at this point. I'm going to say probably 14 years ago? 13, 14 years ago. I was working at a gym. And when you are working in a gym, running a gym, that's actually what I was doing, which is hilarious to think about now.
Yeah.
But you always with the new fitness thing, I was like, somebody needs to learn yoga, you know? And we were like, well, there's not any training. How do we do that? And I said, somebody buy a video, learn it, and regurgitate it for class. And they're like, well, can we do that? Why can't we do that? So a couple of the instructors were nice enough to do that, did it, really took it to be their own, which is great. So I'm sitting in the office going, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. I just couldn't stop watching. And then I'd try it, and then I was frustrated because I was very much into the kind of the weightlifting gym rat part of it. So I became really frustrated and hated it immediately. So, but I couldn't stop watching it, which I was like, it's just so beautiful to watch. So every once in a while, I'd put my big girl pants on and go back and try it again. And I would say it was probably about my fourth class, something clicked with me. And was like, even though I'm not flexible and even though I'm not used to my body moving this way, this is good stuff. So little by little, more yoga, less gym. And then I realized that I was a lot more peaceful, a little more aware. So then I became obsessed with yoga. And anywhere that I could find it, I would take it. So that meant I was driving down south and I was going to Bally's in West Palm and then even further south to get anywhere that I could. And there wasn't a lot of yoga back then at that time. So looking online and, of course, getting the yoga journal and things like that. But the yoga that I was taking at the time was a little bit more physical than I felt that it would be for my yoga, if that makes sense. Yoga became a lot more internal for me at that time, and that wasn't really available to me at the time. So then, just kind of spur of the moment, Holly, will you sub for me, became, wow, can I do that? I don't know if I can do that. Can I do that? And I thought, yeah, I can do that. And you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it my way. So then that became kind of my thing. And then I was also taking at Bally's down at the time, and then that teacher, and her name was Bobby, and she was great. And she was just this total hippie love, peace, just love, 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 big ball of love. And so then she had to leave. And she had a class, and she said, Holly, I'd really like you to take this class over. Now, meanwhile, I was doing workshops where I could get them and things like that. And I was very honest with her. I said, you know, I have this much training. And she's like, so? And I was like, okay, fine. So I picked up a class. My first class at Bally's was 45 people. I think I had about 3 heart attacks that day. And, gosh, that was a long time ago. But ever since, you know, and then I think after my second child, yoga became one of those things that I had to do. Otherwise, I might start killing people or something. I don't know. So I kind of picked up a catchphrase along the way that yoga can be your personal trainer, it can be your chiropractor, it can be your therapist, and it can even be your church. And I still feel that way. So
it's beautiful.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah. And I always feel like at some point, as our world gets crazier and as we are doing more and being more, we have to gather the tools to handle all that, which is a lot. So this comes to my next joke. It's a joke and it's not a joke, and it's at some point you have to either choose meditation or medication. But as a couple of my friends have said, or both, I'm like, okay. No
Yoga's the
judgment,
union of opposites.
Yeah. Well, we all have our path, so that's kind of been it for me. And then somewhere along the way, and being obsessed with yoga and it being physical and it feeling good and moving things around and getting in better shape and feeling stronger, then I started to hurt myself. So I had to learn how to not do that. So that became a huge part of my practice, and I probably really started to learn that about, I'm going to say, only 5 or 6 years ago. So that's been a huge shift in my practice.
And then ultimately you did do teacher training. Was it through Yoga Works? Is that where you ended up?
Mm-hmm. And every time that I would take a class with them down in Miami or Fort Lauderdale or even in those areas, I was like, these are my peeps.
Right.
These are my peeps. And I mean, all yoga's great, for sure, but there's just going to be certain yogas that we resonate with
Sure.
and others that we don't. And Yoga Works to me just seems very modern, which speaks to me because they're not thinking that we're all going to run off into India and end up on the top of a mountain enlightened. And, no, we're here, we're in the trenches, we're raising kids, and we're trying to make it all happen in a peaceful and loving way. And to me, I was like, yes, help me do that. So, and it just becomes about alignment, in your body. And our strong parts are trying to become flexible, and our flexible parts are trying to become strong. And then you realize that's not just about your body. And for me, it was just huge. And then once I stopped hurting myself and I learned how to fix myself if I hurt myself, it gave me a lot of confidence to go even deeper. And I learned to do things that I couldn't do before, which was amazing because I never thought I could. And that is a whole other group of lessons.
Yeah, so empowering.
Yeah. So that's been really fun. So yeah, pretty much all my classes, there's a certain sequencing, or if you want to say it, a recipe that comes kind of with Yoga Works. So all my classes are pretty much that way, with the intention of making sure that people don't hurt themselves.
Variations between the 2 classes that you teach here?
Saturday morning, pretty much, actually I should say all of my classes, how are we feeling this morning, kind of get an idea of who's there and who wants what.
Right.
Who's here to work hard, find that out. Who's here to chill and stretch, find that out. And then I try to cater to everyone.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it's more arising in the moment.
Right. However, yin yang, yang on Wednesday is more specific into realizing that we're going to do this and we're going to do this.
Right.
So that's just a little bit more of an agenda on that one.
More structured, yeah.
More structured.
Well, since we're running out of time, I want to share what's on my heart, which is I feel like you've been such an integral part of this place, and from its inception, since that auspicious dinner where I saw you at Briscoe a few years ago, and I said, "Hey, come here for a sec. I got to tell you something," and see if you were into doing, this whole thing and the co-op idea and the idea of what Kula could be. And at that time, it was just existing in our minds, And from the get-go, you've been such an instrumental part of making this place what it is, and you're just so beloved in the community. It's amazing. I don't know if I've ever met a yoga teacher before, where so many people are just singing your praises all the time, and I want you to know how many lives you touch. It's just really powerful, and so you're a gift, not just to Kula, but to our whole community.
Well, thank you. That means a lot.
So I'm glad you decided to jump into that yoga class that looked
I know, right? So funny how things happen.
Beautiful. Yeah,
So
it's
funny.
amazing. And anything that you want to share? Just have a minute left for people maybe that are new to your class or just new to yoga in general, and the inspiration for their practice.
Sure. Don't be afraid to ask questions. That's a big part, I think, for people who are already practicing yoga. For people who haven't started yet and they're afraid, gosh, you just got to jump in there and realize that no one's looking at you. Everyone's face down on their own mat and their own stuff, and anyone who's there remembers what it's like to start. And the most important step is the first step. And even if that first step means that you're not coming back for a while, at least you took that first step. It's just like me. I didn't immediately go, oh, yoga's it.
Right.
It was kind of sprinkled in, It happens gradually. There's always a seed that's planted at some point, and just start.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.